Today I'm talking about some exercise suggestions in a broad scope. I get it's broad, it's not specific to you, but here's a bit of wisdom that I've learned from Professor McGill and other people that I'm going to share with you today. And you can read about more in Gift of Injury. We dropped in 2017 and revised in 2020. Dr. McGill's advice was a game changer for me. It completely transformed the way I approach training. You can read about that in Gift of Injury. From powerlifting to strength to everything in between to rebuilding a spine. That's one of my specialties now, getting people back under the bar, back on the field. The exercise progressions, that's the tricky part. Most people can get pain-free, but then getting back to the sport, they have to have time in between. Dr. McGill's advice. One piece of wisdom that I gleaned from Dr. McGill is don't sit if you can stand and do the exercise. And I'm going to tell you some examples and what I mean by that in this video now. For those that don't know, my name is Brian Carroll. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm a McGill Method certified provider, having power lifted for over 21 years and ending on a high note of being the first person to squat over 1,300 pounds. I now work with people all over the world from both a virtual standpoint and in person here in Jacksonville, Florida, with injury, resilience, and performance enhancement. I'm not giving you medical advice. For more information, go to poweractstrength.com. Thank you so much. Enjoy this video. It's not my original information, but I like the rule of thumb. So what does this mean in practice? Simply put, if you're an athlete, if you're rebuilding, it's most likely better for you to stand than sit while doing this exercise. For instance, let's take a very simple, superficial look at this. Let's compare a lat pull down versus a pull-up. Some people out there do not sit well. So them sitting to do a lat pull down and a little bit of flexion and then compressing and maybe extending and flexing the spine under load versus a natural, a little bit of traction, not keeping you in a weird position like a cable does, where it's not as natural as a pull-up. Also not being seated, compressing your spine as much. You might actually be decompressing doing a pull-up. I recommend for people that can do pull-ups or an assisted pull-up or a weight-assisted pull-up where you get on the machine and the machine helps you lift your body up into a pull-up, or if you wrap bands around your butt or your heels and that is your assisted pull-up. I recommend pull-ups for just about everyone over lat pull-downs because of this reason. It's more athletic, more core engagement. There's no balance necessary when you're sitting down in a stationary machine with your knees anchored down in a lat pull down, and all you're doing is using your upper body muscles, potentially further irritating, at least maybe damaging your spine that already has miles on it. Most of the time, standing exercises are simply more spine friendly, in my opinion. For instance, when someone choosing between a lat pull down and a pull up, or a standing overhead press and a seated military press, I'm going to have them do this standing exercise. Looking for the answer to your sleepless nights, sore muscles, and better overall well-being? If so, PowerAct Strength CBD has you covered. All of our products are made of CBD isolate and have 0% THC, meaning there are no worries of failing a drug test or the worry of feeling high. With PowerAct Strength CBD, we offer a wide range of products and payment options to ensure you have the option that best fits your needs. Don't just take it from me. All of our reviews and client testimonials on our site speak for themselves. You can even get 20% off your order by using code YT1306 at checkout. Go to poweractstrengthcbd.com to order now so you can get back to sleeping, recovering, lifting, feeling, and being better. Remember, the best exercise for you isn't just about whether you can do it standing. It's about your specific goals, your injury history, and your physical characteristics, build, your configurations, your limitations. Obviously, if you have trouble standing, it might not be in your best interest to exercise in those standing positions. Or maybe it is. I don't know. For instance, a bodybuilder might benefit from seated exercises where you isolate muscles groups instead of multi-joint muscle movements. I get that. But we're talking about better overall for athleticism and resilience. Maybe you're rebuilding a spine. This is one of the many reasons for my athletes and my clients I don't recommend bodybuilding for their rehab or rebuilding, especially if they have a history of back pain and flexion intolerance. Man, a lot of people that I see are doing these seated exercises, seated overhead press, seated curls, seated leg extensions, seated leg curls, and if they have any nerve friction, they might be pulling on the nerves, extending their leg, pulling on it from below, flexing their leg back, or doing stuff with their neck, pulling on it from above, and then flexing and extending their knee from below, and they're just causing their pain while they have to stiffen down their core and distally extend and flex the knee. They might be causing their pain thinking that, oh, it's just more spine friendly than a goblet squat or something else, when really they're causing their own pain thinking they're saving themselves by doing quote unquote bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is not rehab. It drives me nuts. Just going light on a seal road sometimes is worse than you doing a bent over row. Again, depending on the type of injury mechanism that you have. I've already used the seated lat pull down and pull up deal. That's a very common one that really drives me crazy, but it also hinges on other things. Hypertrophy, I get it, but if you're trying to rehab, you're not trying to do hypertrophy. If you can, stand while doing the exercise, especially if you're rebuilding. It's not just limited to the pull up and the pull down. Think about seated machine press instead of lying on the floor doing a bottoms up press. That seated position plus compression for some people doing a pec fly. I was just talking to someone last week that I had them do on the floor presses with a kettlebell. And they decided they wanted to start doing some machine press and machine flies. And sure enough, they started to wind up their back pain a little bit. I had them doing sled drags again, which is standing, and goblet squats, which again is standing, using the core muscles, rooting into the floor, carries over to daily life more. They ventured over in the gym and started doing leg extensions, leg curls, leg press. And what happened? That client too, different than the chest pressing one and fly pressing one. This one also started creating their back pain once again. So for some people, if you're out of pain, great. You could still use this rule of thumb. Or if you never had back pain, that's even better. Never sit when you can stand and do an exercise is just something that I think can help a lot of people. Doesn't mean you can never sit and exercise. It's probably better for you to stand when you can because we sit so much to begin with. So once again, if you can stand and do the exercise, do it. There's nothing wrong for most people to sit and exercise, but my rule of thumb for ultimate fitness, building the most spine resilience, and being the most athletic, never sit and do an exercise when you can stand. One thing I've seen too is seated deadlifts. That's so much compression on the spine. Why would you sit and do deadlifts when you can stand and do deadlifts or pull deadlifts off the block or out of the rack? This is another one of these things that just make my head want to explode. Like, I get people want to be creative. I get people want to be comfortable and stuff, but man, a lot of this seated stuff, leg extension, leg curls, leg press, seated exercises, never sit and exercise when you can stand.
Hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember, like, subscribe, share, click the notifications because we drop videos twice a week. We also have a live stream every Friday where I answer your questions. Click below to see the latest video that we uploaded. Also, for our products, our CBD, our books that correspond with these videos, it's down in the description. For more information about all things Brian Carroll and Power Rack Strength, go to powerrackstrength.com. You can book a consult both virtually and in person with me. Enjoy your week, and thank you so much.